Before we begin, remember to like, subscribe, share, and comment below to support this community of seekers, thinkers, and curious minds just like yours. Albert Einstein, a name synonymous with genius, curiosity, and the relentless pursuit of truth. But who was the man behind the myth? Born in 1879 in Ulm, in the Kingdom of Württemberg in the German Empire, Einstein wasn't always viewed as brilliant. In fact, he was a quiet, introspective child, slow to speak, and often misunderstood. Teachers once described him as mentally slow, a label that couldn't be further from the truth. From a young age, Einstein had a remarkable ability to think in pictures, visualizing complex physical problems in his mind long before putting them into equations. At just 16, he conducted what he called thought experiments, one of which famously involved imagining what it would be like to chase a beam of light. This curiosity about light would later culminate in one of the most revolutionary scientific theories of the 20th century, the theory of relativity. But Einstein's story is not just about science, it's also deeply human. He lived through 2 world wars, was forced to flee Nazi Germany due to his Jewish heritage, and became an outspoken advocate for peace and civil rights in his later years. This multifaceted legacy is what makes Einstein so timeless. He wasn't merely a physicist. He was a philosopher, a humanitarian, and a man who dared to question everything. As we explore Einstein's life, it's important to understand the context in which he worked. The late 19th and early 20th centuries were times of dramatic change, socially, politically, and scientifically. Classical Newtonian mechanics had ruled science for centuries, but new discoveries in electromagnetism and atomic theory hinted that the old ways of thinking were no longer sufficient. Einstein's 1905 miracle year, known as his Annus Mirabilis, saw him publish 4 groundbreaking papers. These covered the photoelectric effect, Brownian motion, special relativity, and the equivalence of mass and energy, E=mc². Any one of these papers would have cemented his place in history, but together, they shattered old paradigms and opened the door to modern physics. Of particular note is his work on the photoelectric effect, which earned him the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1921. This research laid the groundwork for quantum mechanics, a field that Einstein would later wrestle with philosophically, even famously saying, "God does not play dice with the universe." Einstein's theory of special relativity was not just a new way to calculate how fast objects move, it fundamentally altered our understanding of time and space. It told us that time is not absolute, but relative, that space and time are interwoven into a single continuum, known as spacetime. These ideas were more than mathematical formulas, they were philosophical revelations about the nature of reality. But Einstein didn't stop there. In 1915, he presented his general theory of relativity, which expanded upon the special theory and introduced a revolutionary concept. Gravity is not a force between masses but a curvature in spacetime caused by mass and energy. This theory predicted phenomena like the bending of light by gravity, later confirmed during a solar eclipse in 1919. Overnight, Einstein became a global celebrity, a rare feat for a theoretical physicist. While the science is fascinating, Einstein's personal life is equally compelling. He was married twice, first to Mileva Maric, a fellow physicist, and later to his cousin Elsa. His relationships were complicated, marked by both intellectual partnerships and emotional distance. He had 2 sons, one of whom, Eduard, struggled with mental illness, something that haunted Einstein for the rest of his life. Einstein was also a prolific letter writer. His correspondences with other scientists, friends, and even children provide a window into his character. Playful, thoughtful, and deeply compassionate. Despite his fame, he maintained a childlike wonder and humility. Often saying he had no special talents, only passionate curiosity. During his time in the United States, particularly at Princeton, Einstein became politically active. He spoke out against social injustice, aligning himself with civil rights leaders like W.E.B. Du Bois. He criticized McCarthyism and was a strong supporter of pacifism, though he reluctantly supported the development of the atomic bomb during World War II due to the threat posed by Nazi Germany. His involvement in the Manhattan Project was limited, but his 1939 letter to President Franklin D. Roosevelt warning of Germany's potential development of nuclear weapons was a key catalyst. After the war, he became a vocal advocate for nuclear disarmament, warning humanity of the dangers of its own inventions. Today, Einstein's influence permeates nearly every field of science and even philosophy. GPS technology, for instance, requires adjustments based on relativity to function accurately. In medicine, imaging techniques like PET scans rely on principles he helped establish. His thought experiments continue to inspire students, scientists, and philosophers alike. Einstein's legacy is more than scientific, it's symbolic. He represents the power of the human mind when freed from dogma. The courage to pursue truth at all costs, and the humility to recognize the mystery that still remains. In many ways, we can relate to Einstein more today than ever before. In a world flooded with information, Einstein reminds us to pause, reflect, and imagine. In a time of division, he stands as a figure who valued unity, peace, and shared understanding. His curiosity, discipline, and courage offer a roadmap not just for scientists, but for all who seek to live with purpose and integrity. So, as we close this deep dive into the life and mind of Albert Einstein, ask yourself, what are the ideas you're too afraid to explore? What mysteries still make you wonder? And what would it look like if you gave your imagination permission to lead? Because sometimes, the greatest discoveries begin not in a lab, but in the quiet corners of the mind where questions are allowed to breathe. Thank you for watching, fellow seekers of light and reason. May Einstein's legacy inspire your journey of curiosity and courage. Stay grounded, stay imaginative, and I'll see you in the next exploration.